the most important of this forum, we try to invite people from museums too, so that it's really a group from scholars, from the universities, and from museum professionals who are doing research in their institutions as well, so that we get a mixed group. And the bigger idea behind is that we redefine or think anew about what knowledge production and research means in our times in the 21st century, between different institutions and beyond institutional barriers, such as universities, museum archives, and so on and so forth. So it's a beginning, this Museum University Forum, and we try to integrate as much person as we can. And I'm happy that we have representatives from nearly every CIVIS university here now, as a kind of person who disseminate what we are talking about. And we have today a more content-driven session of 1 hour. Irene will introduce this in a second. And on Friday, we have 4 hours in the morning. We start at 9:30, not at 9, at 9:30 here in this room, where we discuss concretely about upcoming topics and what we've done so far, and initiatives that come up, and we will discuss about that. So it will get much more concrete in terms of upcoming projects. Okay, that's it from my side. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let me also That's on. Okay, sorry. So let me thank all my colleagues from Sapienza who have collaborated to the organization of the Global CIVIS Days, of course, but particularly of this particular session. Maria Chiara, who is here, and everybody knows her, Giulia Antinucci, and then we have Luana, who is there, and there are also some of my students in museology who are here. So it's very important for us also to involve the community of students, of course, but also the territory, communities and institutions. Today we will have two very special guests. They are here. Andrea Schiappelli from the archaeological park of the Colosseum. He is an archaeologist. I will have the opportunity to introduce him in a few minutes. And Paola Nicita, who is an art historian. She's also a colleague, and she works at the Gallerie Nazionali di Palazzo Barberini. So two very, very important museums which have a great relevance not only for the city of Rome, but for the whole country. So it's very important for us to have them here, because actually the real topic of this meeting today, which we have called as a fishbowl, in the sense of being an opportunity to meet each other, to discuss, but in relationship with the territory, with the external context, so that we have the communities, we have the institutions, we have our students, and of course we have so many, all the universities from the CIVIS Alliance here represented. The very topic is about public engagement, actually. So something which, as I will try to tell you in a very few minutes, because we would like also to have a short discussion in the second part of this meeting. I will try to tell something about what we do have in common as universities and as museums, and what we can do together in order to promote values of citizenship, values of dialogue, values of participation and democracy, and possibly of peace, which we all need so much in this time. So the frame, the conceptual frame I would like to give in the beginning of this meeting is about exactly the concept of public engagement for these two very special realities. So museums and universities, which have, as I have very often the opportunity to say, so much in common in terms of involvement and engagement engagement towards the external world. So institutions which are required basically to be relevant for communities, for citizens, institutions which for a very long time actually have been also accused some way to be too much focused on themselves. So the idea of the museum temple is so close to the idea of the ivory tower of the university. Some way we do have this image in common, but at the same time we do have the same engagement and the same transformation at this time into institutions which are, on the contrary, so much involved in an idea of public value. So universities and museums can collaborate together, can work together. We are actually working together so much in terms of promoting values of social improvement, rights, sustainability, of course, without forgetting the importance of our disciplines and of research. Paola will talk about research and importance of research, which is a pivotal part of our engagement, but we should be able to share with the others, so to share with the citizenship. And you know, the common representation of public engagement is based on this graphic image of the onion. So the more you go far from the heart of this onion, the more you go through the idea of information instead of dialogue. So we are actually working in a public engagement perspective if we are actually focused onto collaboration, co-production, sharing, all the other activities which can be simply considered as the information and the sharing of knowledge in a top-down approach is, on the contrary, far from the heart of this onion. So what we should do together, and we can do it not simply comparing our experiences, but we can do it sharing these experiences and working together, is to improve more and more this idea of involvement. You all know, we all know, as people who work and study in the context of museums, that participation has become a key concept for us. We have all, of course, shared in the discussion about the new definition of museum in ICOM. So we know so much how difficult it is to create and to realize this big development, this big change. But we should also have the good allies. And museums can be the good allies for universities. We do believe this. At Sapienza, I have to say, we are trying to do this. We do it exactly with these institutions who are represented, which are presented today, the Parco Archeologico del Colosseo and Palazzo Barberini, the Gallerie Nazionali di Palazzo Barberini, are two very close friends of Sapienza. We do many things together in terms of course, involving students, but also in terms of creating public values. I think that both of our guests will talk about this. We can work on cultural heritage, creating some way really a ground of successful cooperation. We are doing this very much also with the help, the precious help of our students, in order to create, of course, an idea of heritage which is connected to the value of common heritage, of universal values of peace and democracy. The big issue is to let people understand that public engagement can be successfully proposed as a fundamental perspective in order to share the idea of a common cultural heritage. It can be given for granted in our context, but it is not at a more general level. We are having many difficulties actually in this discussion about the real value of cultural heritage in terms of peace, democracy, participation, and so forth. So we can work together in this sense. We can work on public engagement and empowerment, and we can really work together in order to have, I think I'm deeply convinced about that, for a better world. The Faro Convention from the Council of Europe certainly is one of our charts of reference, together with a number, of course, of international charts, and of course also of the agenda, the 2030 agenda. I think that what we could do together also is to share some knowledge, some information concerning the big engagement of the European community in terms of public engagement in public institutions. And there are a number of documents which we will share within our network and within the university, the Museum University Forum, which might help us to create projects, to create context of real and precious, I think, fruitful collaboration. So this is more or less the main introduction I would like to give you, just to introduce and to open the discussion, which will be, of course, enriched by the interventions of our guests. So first of all, I would like to call in a chronological order of competences, because I have to choose some way a kind of selection, some way. Andrea Schiappelli from the Parco Archeologico del Colosseo. Andrea, please come. And in the meantime, I thank you very much. Should have it here. L'hai già caricato su? Che è questo? Ok, aspetta che...
Giro da questo.
Ok, condividi. Dividi. Ok.
Thank you, Irene, for invitation. Today, I will talk about a specific aspect of public engagement. I talk about art therapy. In the Park of Colosseum, it's 7 years now. We work at a program called Salus per Artem. I mean, it's Salus per Artem is a very large framework of work with public, with very different kind of public. I think it is not public archaeology, but social archaeology. It's something different. Frequenting places of art is good for everyone, no doubt. But certain categories of visitors can derive particular benefits from observing works of art and participating in activities conduct in contexts that, with their historical and archaeological settings, reverberate the fascination of the ancient world, triggering new cognitive stimuli. This is certainly not a recent discovery, but te lo faccio da qua. Lì funziona? Questo lo mostro. Allora, così come faccio? Con la rotella. Va bene. This is certainly not a recent discovery, but it's equally true that the healthy combination of art and well-being under the banner of care, culture, and beauty has recently been gathering ever more adherents both in Italy and abroad, thanks to the joint efforts of Ministry of Culture, institutes, doctors, and third sector associations. And here at the Parco, since its foundation, we have always been convinced that art, in all its forms, including dance, theater, and music, is synonymous with well-being. Beauty provokes emotions capable of acting on the mind even more than drugs, as many neurologists, for example, affirm, supporting their statements with numerous scientific findings. More specifically, two revolutionary concepts on brain functioning have been confirmed in the last 10 years of research. Brain plasticity. The brain changes depending on what it does. Neurogenesis. New cells are born in the brain to replace those that die. Concepts at the basis of many of the activities that we call here. For simplicity's sake, art therapy, and which we always intend, would like to emphasize as therapies that are not alternative, but rather integrative to the traditional medicine. As a matter of fact, there is more and more evidence that as far as cognitive and neurological distress is concerned, experiences conducted in enriched environments, such as art venues in the broadest sense, which include the physical movement and are preceded by a careful welcome, favor cognitive and emotional development in patients, as well as increase resilience to illness thanks to an effective reduction in neurological disorders, which can be detected above all during the experience itself. On the other hand, suspending such experiences or conducting them in environments that are neither pleasant to the senses nor welcoming cause depression, stress, and general lowering of defenses. Here we have a series of new keywords about art therapy, well-being in culture. Health genicity, exposure to cultural heritage, my favorite, life skills, universal right to beauty, human regeneration. At the same time, at this recognition, the lexicon in the field of art therapy has also been enriched and refined, a definition that is now reductive and has been replaced by broader and more holistic cultural welfare, whose assumption is the reciprocity of the two spheres. Producing health through culture, supporting culture through health. This then was the scenario in which Parco began to move when at the end of 2018, together with the Parkinson Onlus Association, it launched its first cultural welfare project, Park in Parco, a cycle of free workshops in art and motor disciplines, still in progress, designed for people with Parkinson's disease, but open to all. A project that had in its central moment in the Salus per Artem conference, held symbolically on the occasion of ICOM's International Museum Day 2019. And in view of this positive experience and the growing public interest in the subject, the Parco made the Salus per Artem a kind of framework program, which has since then framed all our numerous art and wellness initiatives, which are constantly being developed and which, in view of the results, has earned its own logo, this one. The graphics help remind us of the fronts on which we are engaged in the field of cultural welfare and accessibility. Fronts that involve the association active in the area, a fundamental partner at the basis of our action. We have agreement with more than 20 now association of Rome in Lazio. As we have just mentioned, the pilot project was Park in Parco, which involves various activities, always preceded by a visit or an archaeological story, which allows participants to immerse themselves in the context and inspires the choreography and themes of the performance. The activities on a monthly basis did not stop even during COVID lockdown, during which we streamed the workshop live. The other workshop, Movement and Voice, Hatha Yoga in Museum, Soft Pilates in the garden of the Vigna Barberini in front of Colosseum, Drum Circle in Orti Farnesiani, for example, a lot of dance well performance, and an annual conference for the National Parkinson's Day. We have activities for the deaf people with agreement with Istituto Statale Sordi di Roma, guided tours with archaeologists, Italian LIS interpreter, communication assistant, and deaf sign language educator, workshop and games for deaf children and their families. A consultation of deaf people on the design of visitor support devices. Activities for the visually impaired, collaboration with a blind state museum in Ancona, that is the excellence in Italy about the blind support for museum. Tactile panels. We have activities for patients, children, and families, and educational workshop at the Bambino Gesù Hospital. We have organization of cultural visit and recreational educational activities at the park in collaboration with Peter Pan, Association for Families of the Young Cancer Patients, during the periods in which they are in Rome to follow medical therapies, or recreational and educational workshops organized in the playroom located in the heart of the Bambino Gesù Pediatric Hospital, a space where children are welcome and spend a few hours playing away from the world or while waiting for their next visit. Other categories, the recovery from addiction, social hardship, migrants and refugees. Following this experience, conducting the different season of the year and in a wide choice of location within the park, it is worth emphasizing here how the Domus Aurea, for example, proved to be particularly appreciated by visitors with cognitive disabilities, and in particular by autistic children. Evidently, the silent situation without crowds and the brightness limited to the points of interest are conditions that greatly facilitate the ability to concentrate and therefore to understand on the part of this type of audience. Again, the virtual reality experience with Oculus gave great satisfaction and excitement to visually impaired people with residual vision who are able to benefit significantly from this particular visual system. As a result of these first 7 years of intense activity in the field, we are able to make some observations, such as the strategic importance of involving trade associations, adopting the Memorandum of Understanding as an administrative tool, the importance in order to ensure that the therapy is more effective of periodic repetition of the experience in the park or in museum. The added value given by the welcome provided by the park staff, and in particular the relationship of familiarity and pleasant familiarity that is created between operators and participants, understood both as people with problems and as their caregivers. On the net of everything, therefore, the value of the human factor emerges preponderantly. Last but not least, I will talk about something about our adhesion to the projects of the third mission of Sapienza with Irene, directed and coordinated by Irene Baltriga, which allowed us a further an important opening of vision and participation on an even wider horizon in terms of communities involved in the territory. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Andrea. Lots of things and very, very important experiences. We are so proud to have the Parco Archeologico del Colosseo among our partners. You can understand how important it is and how it is crucial to have this sharing of experiences between universities and our university in this case, and such an important cultural place. We can really learn from each other. And I have to say, considering one of the images you have showed, one of the most touching moments during one of our experiences organized together in the park was the moment of what we called the conversation laboratories. So we created the labs of conversation about the cultural heritage, but completely focused on contemporary issues. So we had students, visitors from the park, our colleagues, the archaeologists, the art historians, colleagues from the university, so professors, all involved in these conversations about peace, about migrations, about sustainability, about civil rights, etc., taking inspiration from the cultural heritage. So reusing and resemantizing basically the cultural heritage on our present issues, on our present problems. This is the key point of transforming these places into contexts of real relevance for our future. That's the point. So I think we can really do so much things together. So thank you very much, Andrea. And I call at this moment Paola Nicita, also a very dear friend. And she is also, as Andrea, a brilliant scholar. They are both PhD, and so one is archaeologist, the other one is an art historian. She has also published several books about collections and museums in Rome. And she is also dealing, no, it's here, aspetta. Aspetta, forse questo. Just a moment, sorry. Ok. Questo ci serve? Non riesco a toglierlo. Purtroppo no. Sono andato io. Non si gira. No, no, ne abbiamo già provato, quello non è. Questo qua? Nemmeno, no, questo è quello buono. Però non so che cosa è questo a fare. Non lo voglio togliere. E il tecnico se n'è andato? No, 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 lo riconoscerei. Eccolo. Questo si può togliere così com'è? Ma che cos'è? Ah, ok. Non è importante. È il puntatore delle slide. Ok, vai. Ok. Ultima modifica forse? No, ma sta dentro CIVIS. Dimmi. CIVIS, eccolo, CIVIS Baldriga, eccolo. E PowerPoint. Ok, vai, ok. Ok.
Okay. Does this work? Okay. Let me introduce myself. My name is Paola Nicita. I work in the National Gallery of Art in Rome. The name of the gallery is called Gallerie Nazionali, it's plural, because we have two locations. One is in Palazzo Barberini, and the other one is in Palazzo Corsini. In Rome, we have this particularity that there is not a national gallery as in other capitals, because this has to deal with our history, because at the end of the 19th century, when the country was unified and Rome became capital, there was no national museum like, for example, in London or in other parts of the world. The National Museum, actually the big museum in Rome was the Vatican Museum. So this was a great problem for our museum to grow up, because it came very late in the history of Europe. It came up at the 19th century, at the end, when the art market had come in Italy, in Rome, to get all our cultural heritage. So it was very difficult for us to have a national museum, but at the end of the 19th century, that was a problem in this city. So we started with a museum that collects especially, come faccio andare avanti? Yes, questa rotella, ok. That has especially, like many museums in other parts of the world, works of art from the Middle Ages until the 18th century. And this is one of our locations. Now we have a very important exhibition dedicated to Caravaggio. But the first location was in another part, was very small. It was in Trastevere in Rome. It's called Galleria Corsini. Those two names are important because they tell many things about also our problems today for a national museum, because they are related to families, aristocratic families, the families of popes, And it's not very easy for visitors to understand what they are going to see. Many of them come to Palazzo Barberini thinking that inside they will find especially works of art of the Barberini Palace or the Barberini collection. It's not that case because we have many works of art from many collections put together. And so all the time, in the 50s, in the 60s, and also now, we have to make sense of what we have. And it's not very easy because in the 50s, there were some types of visitors and cultures. Now we have people that come from all around the world. So it's very difficult to manage these two things. I work especially with universities. Some years, it's like 5, 6 years, and with graduate students. So we have some conventions with this university, with La Sapienza, with the School of Specialization in Art History. So they are very brilliant students, graduate students, and we can make good programs, research programs. But for me, one thing is very important is that students must understand that working in museums is also producing research, producing new knowledge. It's not only speaking to visitors, but also thinking and working with the works of art and studying. So the best thing for us was to work with these graduate students, and we decided to do this is the first room of orientation with a touch screen. And before talking about what we do with the students, let me show you some images of our museum. They are quite new. There was a new arrangement some years ago. So this is the touch screen that tells something about our museum. You see, the name is Barberini Corsini. So some directors think that it's a good thing calling it National Museum. Some others say, no, it's a good thing to call it Barberini Corsini. So it's a very difficult challenge for our identity, because everyone comes in Rome and knows what there is Vatican, what there is the Colosseum. It's not so easy to work with this museum that has many levels of communication. And this is the first room. Another thing it's important, we have, as I told you, works of art from the Middle Ages until the 18th century in this very important palace. And many years there was like an order, a chronological order, or an order dedicated to the great masters of the Renaissance. But it's not so easy with our collection to have this kind of order, because many people come, for example, and maybe get bored to have many altarpieces of the Middle Ages and then of the 15th century and then of the 16th century. So, for example, this room is dedicated to the theme, a very difficult theme that is religion, that has to speak to all kinds of visitors, and it's dedicated to the altarpieces, and you see it's tradition and devotion. So we have a chronological order in many rooms, but sometimes we have a thematical order dedicated to themes, portraits, for example, or devotion, where we have some important Renaissance altarpieces like this room. See, this is our text of the rooms, tradition and devotion, with an altarpiece next to it. And this is another room dedicated to, instead, two painters of the 18th century. Their names are Pompeo Batoni and Subleyra. So one is Roman, Toscan, and the other one is French. And the one is, it's a room that has popes and also female nudes. And some people told me, but it's not a problem for us. So And I don't think it's a problem. If you can explain it, we have to manage to explain what is this nude, but I think that we can manage to do it. And this, I like a lot this image. It's in a room dedicated to Raphael. You see there's our highlight that is La Fornarina. It's a very important masterpiece. And one day there was inside this room, this Japanese with this wonderful dress. And I found it wonderful to see how he looked at these works and he read the panels. And so it's, I don't know if he understood he was photographed. So, but it was at least interesting as Raphael for me. It had a beautiful dress, really beautiful. And this is the second location, just to let you know our difficulties for Roman museums. This is the second location. It's called Galleria Corsini. So it's like a quadreria. It's only paintings. And they are arranged as it was in the 18th century. So it remained in a palace, that is a palace of the 18th century, as it was when the cardinal that founded this museum, Neri Maria Corsini, decided to display the paintings on the walls. And for example, here there is a famous painting of Caravaggio in this very small museum that is a second museum. And for us, it's like really amazing because we have to try to let the people understand and let the people try to read this complicated museum that is like stopped, freezed in the 18th century. And some scholars think that we should bring some of these works of art in Palazzo Barberini that has a more traditional arrangement, and others instead wanted to remain like a document of what was the culture in Rome in the 18th century. And we have, you see, some panels where there's just the name of the author, and with technical devices, a visitor can come in and understand what they can see. But I think it's still a problem because it's not easy for many visitors to understand what they see because there are many paintings of different periods put together. And we are in another really long time century. So it's very, very difficult to let them understand why there is like a still painting with a medieval painting next to it and what they represent, what they want to tell us. So we have to think it always. Otherwise, we won't have persons to get in. And this is our problem. We have many visitors in one location that's called Palazzo Barberini and very few in this one. But okay, let's arrive to the point of the research program with Università La Sapienza, with Roma 3 and other universities. With the students, we decided to do this thing to choose some paintings that are in storage. So they are not shown normally, and with some specific program that we decided with some professors of the university, like, for example, Walter Curzi. He teaches art history in modern art in Sapienza, or another scholar that is Giovanna Capitelli in Università di Roma 3, who teaches Flemish and Dutch history, art history. And we decided to put together some programs dedicated to the students that had to study these particular paintings that are not very easy. And we have some rooms dedicated to this. So the students come and we have lessons in the rooms. These paintings you see on the wall, they come from the storage. We have workers that put them together there. We put them with the lights and everything like it was a museum space. And we have lessons there. There are some rooms on the second floor of Palazzo Barberini. This is one dedicated to 17th century paintings. Some of them are from the school of Caravaggio. So they are really good paintings. And unfortunately, not all shown to all the visitors. These are some other rooms. So you see there are a lot of rooms that are not only one dedicated to this program. And here, there are the students that come, and these were lessons that we made with Ingegnere Claudio Falcucci, who teaches also in this university. He teaches diagnostic investigations, is it correct? And so he brought his devices and he showed to the students how to read the paintings with X-rays, the wood, the lamp wood, or with all technical devices. And this is very important for the students because they, until that moment, study mostly on the books. Then they go maybe alone or with some of their teachers in the museums. But instead, that is like to talk together in front of the painting and to make the students discuss and let them think and tell what they think about the paintings. And the best of their reports, because they make an essay at the end of the year, will be published. I underline that the book is founded, come si dice, finanziato, entirely by the museum, not by the university. Maybe in the future, because it is an effort for us. But we are very delighted that these paintings that are not very important, they are normally in the storage, will become a book. And you see, for example, in this case, I like to tell about this case because this is a painting of the 18th century by a painter. His name is Domenico Corvi, and there is his name on the painting. But a student said, and there's also a date, 1763. In all the books, it's like this, 1763. He looked at the painting and he started to study it. And he said, but for me, it's not that period of this painting. I think we should. And so with these technical devices, we understood that it's not 1763, but 1783. But the thing important is that everything started not with the technical device, but with his eyes and with his work and his study. He started to study, he started to understand that there was something that was not so common. And he said, for me, it's not at the beginning part of the life of this painter, it's at the end. And so I think this is like, it's a success for us. Ok, sì, sì.
Abbiamo domande perché...
Ok, so this è soltanto, these are all the students that are making alive these rooms, you see. And I just wanted to show you some of them that they touched the paintings. And this is the last one, because a colleague in the museum also had some speeches for the public, the normal common public. So sometimes we open these rooms with this display and we show it to the visitors that come in the museum. So this is it. Great.
Thank you so much, Paola. Okay, I think we even if we had only 1 hour, but we tried basically to show, I think we have succeeded in explaining and showing how museums can be places of collaboration, of participation at different levels, because it was very important to have two very different perspectives, but in the end, the same mood. So the idea is to create knowledge, well-being, emotions, participation with communities of students, communities of scholars, communities of citizens, people needing help, fragile communities and visitors. But the point is a museum which is open to society and which creates knowledge with visitors and with society. And university can be also some way a good partner in this, learning each other and collaborating each other thanks to this involvement of people. This is the point, I think, of the public engagement in the best interpretation which we can give. So I would like to ask you if you have some questions. Of course, you will have questions for our guests. Andrea, maybe you can come here with us. Or comments, or maybe Thomas will... Chiudo questo, ti ridò la pennata. Sì.
Yeah, maybe first of all, thanks for this presentations that give a really good idea of how you work with the university, with students. You can have my chair in a second after I have put my questions. Maybe in both of your directions, I wonder how important these initiatives that you presented here are in your institution. In Colosseum, I guess the most important target group is the tourists that come in bus loads every day. So how important are these smaller groups that you address? Is there a special curator for this, or is this done by the normal museum stuff? And the same maybe for Museo Nazionale or Barberini. So how important is this? Is this a kind of experiment, or is this still part of the institutional self-understanding?
For us, in Park of Colosseum, we manage this program Salus per Artem with the educational service. And we organize the activities with the association of categories. We choose normally some areas without the crowd, without the most of public. Sometimes we organize the activities, the laboratories, when the park is close to the public. This sense of exclusivity is very important for our fragile public. Sometimes we remain in the Colosseum at the sunset alone with the people with Down disabilities or cognitive or blind and deaf to, or Alzheimer, Parkinson, everything of disease, social economic disease too. And when we are alone and in the sunset at Colosseum on the Palatine Hill, they feel the feeling of the group is very, very positive. They appreciate this situation only for them. And the familiarity with the staff, with us, is very important too. The friendship, not one shot. This activities is not one shot no more. It's a one time month, often. Otherwise, it's not successful. They have to come back more times. They have to feel the place, the museum, the park, part of themselves. The sense of belonging, we are focused about that.
This program was thought by the director, and so all the staff works on this program, and we are very happy because this second floor of Palazzo Barberini, many years ago, was open to the public. And it was had displayed with the paintings of the 18th century. All started with a staff problem because we didn't have the persons that could open it normally, permanently. So we decided that we could use those rooms for special programs dedicated to research. That's why we have many rooms that can be used. And the thing that I think is good is that at the end of this researches, it's like 3 or 4 years we worked with it. All these essays are shared, and we open these rooms to the visitors some days, some months in a year. And so it becomes a knowledge that is for everyone. It's for scholars and also for visitors. And my colleagues they bring the visitors in these rooms. And it's like going in a storage room, but it's all much more clear because you can see the paintings on the walls, selected by a criteria that is 17th or 18th century. And also, it's a very important program with, for example, this colleague, Falcucci, who uses these devices on our paintings. And it's a very good thing for us to have so many important information about our works of art. So I think, and the students are very, very, very happy. I think that they are very happy because it's like studying in a different way. And studying, having them like to be comfortable with works of art and with their way of thinking. They must learn that what they want to say, they have to say, and they don't have to be shy. This is, for me, the most important thing, that they can come in and start to try to feel like as if they were very good scholars, because it's the beginning. And it was like this many, many years ago, I think. Very important art historians came in our museums in the 20s, in the 30s. They went in the storages, found important works of art and published them. So these young students have to feel the same things, that they can become like that. And that's, for me, like something I want. Yes.
Great. I like so much also this enthusiasm, this idea of the museums posing questions. This is very interesting, also new, and it's an innovative kind of interpreting the role of museum, who do not present itself as an institution which knows everything, but an institution which is open to research, to questions, to participation. This is also a key point, and it's a good answer, I think, for museologists to the point of putting research in the famous definition of ICOM, of the new definition of ICOM. We have discussing so much about the importance and the relevance of the word research in the beginning of that definition. This is the best interpretation we can give to the process of research within museum. So an open kind of research, not research in the sense of saying we research only only ourselves, but we open the process of research to communities and to societies. This is very interesting. This idea of art history as an open discipline, which is very innovative, I think. Do you have some other? Yes, sure.
Thank you. Florentina Nițu from University of Bucharest. How did you convince students to participate? Thank you
I
for
think the
both.
students,
And thank you for these excellent presentations. Thank you.
I think the students were very, very happy to come in a museum and to feel like it was their home and to sit down and talk with other colleagues and with the teachers that, like, for example, in some cases, the teacher had one lesson in Sapienza and 1 week in the museum. So first they were prepared in the rooms of the university. And so they came in the museum just already knowing something. But and some of them made also their final essays, la tesi, come si dice? Thesis. And we hope this is very important because we have many things that have to be studied in our museum. So I'm very happy. I hope that in the future it will go on because it depends also, I have to say, on the teachers of the university, the professors, yes, because not everyone wants to, it's not so easy. You have to know the works of art in the storages. You have to go there every week. So it's a complicated program. It's a challenge. But for us, for example, the Dutch paintings, they are all in the storage. And for me, it's a little bit crazy because they are not so really masterpieces of Dutch art, but they're important. And so to have a teacher, a professor in the university that teaches us Dutch art, and with the students, it was incredible for us because it's like having a specialist that works 1 year on this particular part of our collections.
Any other questions or comments? So thank you very much. I have to say I forgot in the beginning to say a big thank to Anna Leshenko. Sorry, I apologize, because she is so precious for us, and she helped us so much in the organization of this meeting, and also to the second meeting we will have on Friday in the morning, which will be more actually our annual event of the Museum University Forum. So thank you very much, Anna, and I apologize again for not mentioning you in the beginning. Sorry, I was a little bit anxious to start. So I am extremely grateful to our colleagues and friends, Andrea and Paola, and of course I confirm all our interest and availability to collaborate and to do things together even more in the future. We do have also, thanks to CIVIS, actually, we do have some new possibilities and opportunities to do things together. So we keep in touch for sure. And so thank you so much. And so we will meet again as a Museum University Forum on Friday, same room at 9:30. It will be a much longer meeting, so we will have the opportunity to talk about our future projects and to share also our opinions and ideas for our network, which is so important and we believe will be developed very much in the future. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.